Our user has been doing something that we did not expect, and by default, NestJS will try to throw them with a typical 500 error code, which stands for internal server error. In some cases, we want to take control of our own exception. Here comes exception filters. It is designed to help us control the flow and how the response shall look like. As always, documentation first. Head over to docs.nestjs.com/exception-filters and we can see that it provides us some rough explanation, but the one that we want to actually take note of is this one. When an exception is not handled by your application code, it means that whenever we have some error but we did not handle it correctly, it is caught by this exception layer, which then automatically sends an appropriate user-friendly response. Now the explanation can goes on, but let's try to write a simple code. Now in this example, I am simply throwing a new HTTP exception with a message called forbidden, and the HTTP status is also forbidden. Now this can be thrown inside your controller or even your service. Let's write some code. This was from my previous video, but this will be a brief explanation, so any new project should be sufficient to follow this video. So let's over to my post method here. Let's try to throw a new exception. Throw a new HTTP exception and add a forbidden message here, and HTTP status dot let's try forbidden. You can see that this is actually being imported from here. Let me try to remove this first and try to redo this thing. So I will import all missing. All those that are missing has been imported, and if I type in dot here, I can see some suggestion. So in my case, I want forbidden. Let's try to save this, and then when I hit my postman with the endpoint of user, and the method will be post, let's try to send. You can see that it throws me with a forbidden error message. So maybe I can customize something else. Let's say this is custom. Try to save this and hit the endpoint again. You should be able to see your new custom message. So this is actually pretty helpful, and the exception filter is designed to help you write your own exception. Now let's try to write something more complex. Let's say for me, if I try to, let me remove this first. And let's say if I want to create a user with age of 20, which is maybe something common. But what if I try to put a negative value as the age? So this is actually doesn't make any sense. So we can try to customize our own exception. Head over to your user service, and inside my create method here, let's try to add another validation up here. If payload.age let's say is less or equal to 0, we want to throw a new custom error. Throw a new HTTP exception. Let's say age should be more than 0, and I want to set the HTTP status as something. Let's try to import this. HTTP status dot forbidden. There are several code that we can HTTP code error that we can try to see. So you can go to this website called HTTP statuses, it provides some numerous lists of HTTP status. The one you may encounter most of the time is maybe 400, 401, and also 404. 404 error not found, which is quite common nowadays. Now I will close this first. Let's try to save this. And when I hit this endpoint with a not, let's try to say that this is a nonsensical age. Let's try to send this. So now I have my own custom error code, and you can also see that the error code up here is also 403. Let's try to customize this. Maybe I want to put this as okay. Of this okay. So I want to expect this to actually return status of 200. Now you can see now the status is 200 okay. This can be quite useful maybe if you are writing in your front end, you don't want to overcomplicate your error, and you can do just that. So you can customize the error code as well, and even the value here is also being sent as 200. Now the response body will look something like this. We have our status code and the message that we define. So now NestJS provides several built-in exception resource. Let's try to take a look. Now the one that we are interested in is a bad request. So instead of you write something like this one, maybe you can write a new one. Let's remove this, throw new bad request exception, and let's try to save this. I will expect it to return 401, and nope, this is 400. Let's try to see the error code again. Alright, now 401 is unauthorized request, so this was my bad. So if you are having a bad request, it should return as 400. Maybe the error is from the user itself. Maybe he is trying to send some nonsensical value, something like this, which is not making any sense. So you can throw this bad request. And this bad request also can be seen if you are doing some validation. You can look into validation in some other videos and maybe inside pipe also. But in this case, we will write our own validation using this method. So if the age is less or equal to 0, I want to throw this error, which is quite simple. Let's try to create a new one. If payload.name.length is less than 1, I want to throw a new error, throw new bad request exception. Name should be more than 1 character. Let's try to save this and simulate the whole thing. Let's say I didn't write any name, and if I try to send, I will be greeted with age should be more than 0. The reason being is because this one is actually being thrown first. So let's try to solve that first. Try to send again. Now I can see my new error. Name should be more than 1 character. So exception filter actually give you some more leverage in writing your own exception. These are some pretty basic example, but maybe when we are writing a much more huge code base, we will encounter something else. Now in the next video, we will take a look into pipe concept. By this point, I would appreciate it if you can subscribe to my channel. I will be posting videos weekly, Be sure to share this video series if you believe that it can help others. So until then, stay tuned.